Greetings, this is Terra Illumination. It's Friday night, 29th of September 2023. It's pretty close to a full moon. Can't remember if we just had it or we're in it or just coming out. It looks to me like the moon is not quite a perfect circle at the moment, so we're not right on it. Anyway, I just wanted to muse on a few things. It's late, I know, probably everyone's in bed already. You don't have to chat or anything. Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing here, Necessary Truth? It's way past your bedtime. Goodness. Anyway, it's been a very strange time for me personally lately, and I think I'm doing a really good job of dealing with it. Thank you very much. It's like my body is what I used to talk about that years ago, being a transceiver. Your physical body is a transmitter and a receiver. You're constantly transmitting energy outwards and you're constantly receiving energy inwards. Some of the energy you nurture yourself, you bring it into yourself. Did I cover up the microphone? Is everything okay? Huh. And, there's sustenance, there's sunlight, air, water, food, shelter, the good things. And then there's information. And then there's the input from your surroundings, your activities. And okay, the sound is good. Okay, thank you. And oh, what happened? What happened? Oh, something went very glitchy. I haven't done one of these for a long time. But anyway, the full moon's on that Aries Libra axis. It's not very tight onto the nodal axis, so I'm not worrying about it. I'm not thinking about it too much, honestly. The thing that I'm noticing is the extreme acute polarity between Mercury in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. And the way I think about it, oh, thank you, Necessary. The way I think about it, it's really like just feelings. And I was talking about it in some earlier material that I put out today, where we're seeing it on a global scale. God, it keeps glitching out here. I have no idea what it is. It's something goes doink, and then it says try again. Doink, try again. As far as I know, I have a really good signal. Everything should be okay. Anyway, I'll just keep it up. So what we're seeing is kind of frightening. To me, it's kind of frightening on the sheer scale of revealing for the healing. I mean, I talk about it again all the time, but to actually witness it on such a massive global scale, it's just mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, if I keep getting those glitch buttons, I'll just keep pressing the glitch buttons. So I'm doing what I can to stay as, I guess, prepared, neutral, as much of an observer as I can be, even though I'm actually emotionally very charged up. And I find ways to dissipate that energy so it doesn't get backed up like a storm drain or something like that. That's not good for you. So anyway, we are constantly transmitting and receiving energy. If you think of yourself, your physical body, as a transceiver, you are receiving energy, and you own that energy, then you transmit that energy. And it's all happening simultaneously. Now, the way our bodies are built, the vast amount of what we do physically is on the autonomic nervous system. And then we have this thing up here, which allows us to have another layer that they call conscious thought, which, again, it's probably heavily influenced by the autonomic nervous system. But anyway, we interpret that as feelings, intuition, like dreams, all those things that are intangible, but they feel very real to us up here. Thoughts, feelings, inspiration, visions, visualization. And right now we have Saturn retrograde around 1 or 2 degrees. So it's very, very strong, and it's in Pisces. And right at the other end of Pisces, we have Neptune retrograde at about 26 or 27 degrees. So again, the way I do my astrology, I consider them both together, even though they are like 25 degrees apart. You know, that doesn't really count for much of anything in astrology. It's not a sextile, it's not a trine, it's not a conjunction. But just because Saturn and hello Kaylee. Yeah. Just because Saturn and Neptune are in the same sign, I give that some value, some credibility. Now, I'm trying to look at both sides of it. Saturn is the great administrator of testing. It's people associated with pain, suffering, frustration, negative karma, kickback, blowback, really, really hard, tough, painful lessons, the Saturn return. But Saturn is also about rewards for effort and risk that were well thought out, well calculated over extended periods of time. So you can think of it as manifestation. I know some people who have very strong Saturn energy, and they do very well in this physical world. You know, things like money, houses, career, stability, those kinds of three-dimensional tangible things. Now, Neptune is very, very different. It's very nebulous. It's the more you try to capture it and understand the energy, the more it dissipates. So there's almost no point. It's often associated with, hello, you're telling me you got Saturn, Mars, and Pluto conjunct. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh my God, that is fierce. Kaylee, we have to talk. All right. Anyway, oh, Bubba is stretching. Hold on, let me introduce you to Bubba. Let's see if I can do this here. I don't know if you can see him. There he is. He's kind of all curled up. I don't know if you can see him there. There he is. He's trying to look back, see what the hell's going on. I'm like, what are you doing, TL? He likes to squash up in weird places like this. Anyway, with Neptune, it's an energy that's, you know, very beautiful. It's all about universal love, dreams, inspiration. Like Einstein was a Pisces, and he believed that he got all his knowledge and wisdom and inspiration through dreams from heaven. There you go. E equals MC squared. He figured it all out. So they're very contradictory energies in some ways. Now, I know a few people that I've had to do readings for recently that have Saturn and Neptune very close by. And what's the other one? The other, Saturn and Jupiter. But let's just talk about something that's very close right now. Well, it's not very close. Pardon me. Saturn's in a couple of degrees Pisces. Neptune is about 26 degrees Pisces. So there's this thing going on. Saturn is the great manifester. Neptune is the great dissolver. You try to touch it, disappears. So things go back and forth depending on the transits and the sacred geometry of the other planets. You might have periods where Saturn is manifesting the beauty and the inspiration, the dreams that come from the divinity, dreams from the great beyond. What just happened? Some lights went. Did the lights change or something? What just happened? I can't remember. Anyway, so okay, thank you, Kaylee. Thank you. What? Your Venus is 3 degrees Pisces, Sun is at Neptune. That's freakish. Sorry. Anyway, you can have this thing where Saturn is manifesting the energy of Neptune. So in other words, it would be like, pretend I'm an artist or something and I'm getting these vibes and I think, I see it. I see the vision. I'm going to go make my painting. I can see it. And then I go to my canvas and my guitar or my something and I make a piece of art or make a painting or something. That is Saturn manifesting Neptune. But it can also work the other way around, where Neptune, if it's very strongly aspected or in harsh aspect, perhaps with the Saturn, the Neptune can dissolve the manifestation of Saturn. So in other words, you put more and more work, more and more effort, more tests, more challenges, and the more you put in, the more it dissolves. So it creates a sense of despair and hopelessness. And both of those things are happening together. So what I'm seeing is both sides of Neptune right now. That's the thing that's really striking me. Now, remember, we just had, I think I did another video earlier about that. We just had the moon, I think the moon's in Aries right now, but we just had the moon going through Pisces. And when it hit 15 degrees Pisces, that was like, oh my God, for me. That was an oh my God moment. It happens to be a very critical degree for me personally. Anyway, it's a very, very difficult energy to handle. So what I'm seeing is, like, the one side is the amazing phenomenon of life, beauty, manifestation of like things of wonder. Things like the only way I can describe it is things like compassion, empathy, love that I see with animals. Whether it's a little scorpion, a dog, a cat, a fish, they experience love. Of course, they can also get violent and they can kill or they can be killed, but they have that, and it's very, very pure. And oh, you said Saturn is 15. Oh, okay, maybe I misread it. Sorry, Kaylee. So in some ways, what I'm sensing, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but I'm sensing it through YouTube because I've always sensed it this way. I've had quite a strong empathy for animals. In fact, it's actually too strong, and it's a liability. So I have to be very, very careful with animals that I don't get too attached. I'm already very attached to little Bubba and Bonnie and Boo Boo. You haven't really met Boo Boo and Bonnie. Maybe you will one day. But anyway, So it makes me kind of sad because if I had my way, I would probably just live with animals, and I would take my income and just be like an animal rescue foster person. But I would end up homeless very, very quickly. I might be happy for a few days, few weeks, a few months, but I'd end up being homeless very quickly. So uh, I stop myself. I try to find a balance. With the Pisces vibe, the Neptune in Pisces right now, it's been going on for a long time, years. And Neptune takes, what is it, 172 years to go do a Neptune return. It's about, I think, it's about 14 years per sign. Anyway, we're getting close to the end of Pisces, and we're getting close to the end of the Pluto cycle. So there's going to be some huge, huge changes in the world, the human experience across the world over the next couple of years. You're going to really notice it as we go over the cusp. So what I'm seeing is the sad, tragic, crippling horror story that is being revealed that I associate with Neptune. What I'm talking about are things like the really, really tragic situation on the boundary line between the United States and Mexico, where there's millions of people crossing over. And I've watched some very, very disturbing videos, and I don't know what to tell you because I have to be so careful with my channel because they slap me around so hard now. But like right now, there's 250,000 people, give or take, sitting down there at the Darien Gap, right down at the bottom end of Panama. And they're all lined up waiting to get on their buses to go up through Central America and up into Mexico. And then they're going to arrive in the United States, and their lives, I don't know what they're expecting. I don't know what they've been told or what they've been sold, but a lot of them have paid good money, or they're going to end up paying really good money to the cartels to cross that boundary. And from what I can tell, from what I've seen, they're moving out of one miserable situation into another situation that's going to be even more miserable. But they're being promised lies, deception, betrayal, just horrible things. They've been promised that you're going to have this new life in this amazing place called America. And they're not being told that America has some horrendous problems right now that are only getting worse. Lies, deception, betrayal, abuse. Then there's all the little children, all the little children that are getting, let's say, lost in the mix, and they're getting shipped off to people who buy them for nefarious purposes. It's really, really scary stuff. But the beauty of the astrology right now is we're getting to see it. Saturn is manifesting Neptune energy. And I feel the Saturn energy is very, very strong right now because it's in retrograde. It's very close to the 0 point, close to Capricorn. And then it's going to go direct again. And honestly, I feel that humanity has to do this. We have to reveal it to heal it. People need to understand the true depth of evil. It's just mind-boggling. And it's purposeful. There are people who are manifesting this evil stuff because they have an agenda, whatever you want to call it. And there's all sorts of, tons of material on there in the alternative, like, content world, like what we do here. Tons of stuff is out there. Like oh, they call them conspiracy theories, or, there's the elites. I go on about it all the time about there's an order. And at the very, 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 very top, there's people that you never see, you never hear, and they control it and they own it all. I've got some names for it. The obvious ones. I can't do it here with this stream thing, but I've got this awesome chart that Mark Moss made. It kind of shows you. It's not really a description of it doesn't look like a pyramid, but it's actually a very good depiction of the contents of the pyramid of power, control, and money. On the dollar bill, they had that pyramid and the little thing at the top, the all-seeing eye. So what we're looking at is at the very, very top is the all-seeing eye. And it is a very small collection of people who have a very, very different life experience to folks like you and me. I'm here at the very bottom end of the economic spectrum by American standards, but by my own standards, I am a very happy man. I'm a very lucky man. I'm a very wealthy man. I'm a very blessed man. It's all relative, and it's also a belief. I truly believe it. Excuse me. So I'm glad it's happening right now for humanity. It's going to continue to happen. And the next few years are going to be extremely, I would say, uncomfortable and unstable for the whole world. Now, there are handfuls of people who will benefit from all of this. And there are a lot of people who are going to suffer. Millions, hundreds of millions. But again, it's all part of it's nature, okay? So right now, we've been going through the revealing for healing, especially since Saturn entered Pisces. And we've got at least another 2 years of Saturn in Pisces, okay? And Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, they're going to depart and move towards Aries roughly at the same time. So over the next couple of years, please prepare yourself to see a lot more revelations about the things that are really, really disturbing and sick and evil and horrible and tragic and just heart-wrenching. Be prepared for that, okay? And understand that from the folks at the very, very, very top who own the world, there's only, a couple of thousand of them, literally. And then there's 8 billion other people. As far like in China, for example, they got 1.4 billion, all right? They have about 600 million people that live on about $2 a month. And they're all way out in the countryside, peasant type of population. It's a very distorted life, and it's getting much, much worse. And the leader of that country, China, is in very, very deep trouble because he is presiding over the implosion of his own country. He sees it. I mean, he loves he loves the idea that, he's the emperor leader of China, and he's very aware that things are in very bad shape. Now, if you look at the astrology of China, they have Pisces for the second house, Aries the Aquarius in the first house, and Pisces in the second house. That's for the CCP. And so what's happening, my view is that the Saturn-Neptune combo is completely dissolving whatever apparent abundance China has created over the last 30 to 40 years, ever since it connected to world trade and with the United States especially. And it all happened very, 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 very quickly. And because of the way the CCP, China Communist Party, works, it's basically a massive crime cartel with about 2 million people in it who have all the money at the very top. And then there's a bunch of entrepreneurs, and then there's everyone else that lives on very small amounts of money. And he's not really concerned about that because he knows that he can't really feed them all. And my personal view is that he's allowing a kind of a depopulation event to occur in his country, like what happened under the rule of Mao Zedong in the 60s or 50s, the 60s, I think it was. And he's creating this like warlike economy where he can blame it all on the war. Like, I have to go to war. I got to take Taiwan. I've got to restore China to its full glory. And I'm the only guy who can do it. And I'm sorry, everybody, you're going to have to suck it up. So things are going to be rough for the next few years. Well, he's right. For China, it's going to get very, very rough. If you've seen what I've seen, you would understand that there's hundreds of millions of people in China that are in very bad condition. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see millions start to die off with starvation. It's that bad. And I blame it on the planets. Well, I don't blame it. I correlate what I'm seeing with the planets. And I predicted this months and long ago because of the Saturn ingress into Pisces, second house of China. And now it's happening. And we've got 2 years of it, 2 more years to deal with this. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know that when Mars is in Libra, it's making Mr. Ping and the CCP extremely hostile and volatile. That's the irritation effect that's coming from Mars. And that's happening right now. And I'm almost obsessed with it. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but it's very, very troubling because the rest of the world is coupled to China, just like the rest of the world is to America, in either very obvious ways or very subtle ways. But that's the reality of our world today. And it's most obvious in the financial and currency markets. Anyway, I'm not trying to spread doom and gloom and fear. I'm just trying to identify and name what I'm sensing. And you've got to reveal it to heal it. And I believe it's being revealed. Now, on a smaller scale, we've got some stuff going on in Washington, D.C., where we're witnessing both sides of the energy again simultaneously. There's oh God, I'm going to get in trouble with this. I happen to believe that Grandpa Joe, who's running this country apparently, is heavily compromised. He's in deep trouble. I believe he's owned by China, and he's basically doing what he's told. And it's all part of the demolition job, the controlled demolition for the United States. But it's not going as planned the way the elite at the very, 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 very tippity top want things to go. Things are getting very, very, very unstable. Not just for we the people, but for the elites at the very, very, very top. They're finding it very, very difficult to navigate and propagate and manifest their vision. Their vision is complete, utter command and control, tyrannical dictatorship for the whole of planet Earth, based basically on the Chinese CCP model, using money as the ultimate control mechanism. And China already does that. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, they worship Xi Jinping because he is in a position where he can actually manifest this command and control, because that's how they want it. That's how the elites want to manifest this new world order, which is they present it as this very beautiful, amazing new thing that's going to be wonderful for the planet. No, it's going to be wonderful for them, and it sucks for a lot of other people. So there's this new book out. I don't know how new it is, but I only just discovered it, and I've only found material on it that's about 2 or 3 months old. And I only heard about it today. And it's a book. It's called The Great Taking. And I haven't read it all. I've downloaded the book. It's a free book. And I think you can just go online and download the PDF and read it. But essentially, the synopsis that I've been reading basically reiterates what we've been talking about here, where there's a handful of folks at the very, very top who are doing everything that they can to extract everything they can from you, the person, me, the person, we, the people. It's literally an extraction. It's a great taking. And they're doing it through the global banking system, subtle manipulations of the laws and the systems in very profound ways that the average consumer doesn't even know it's happening because it's so subtle, and it's being presented as, oh, this is the new normal. Everything's great. Don't worry about it. We're going to get your CBDCs. You're going to get your UPI. You're going to get your FedNow. And it's going to be seamless, ultra, hyper efficient, smooth, the new world of money. Everything's digital. You just go clickety, clickety, click. Whatever you earn gets digitally deposited. Whatever you spend is digitally spent. It's wonderful. And they're not really telling you that they control and own it all. Like if they don't like who you are or what they're doing, they can do to you what the YouTube. I mean, I loved YouTube, but the algorithm doesn't like me, and I'm constantly getting whacked. So just imagine that happening to you, everybody out there, on a mass scale. If you do not fit the profile that they want, if you do not behave in the way that they want, then they will treat you just the way the CCP, Xi Jinping, treats his Chinese population of 1.4 billion people. So, oh, you won't be allowed to buy gasoline. Oh, because you misbehave. You're not allowed to do this and this and this because you own too many guns. Oh, you can't do that and that and that because you support, you have some tendencies and characteristics that illustrate that you could be a domestic terrorist, okay? Yes, Kaylee, it is absolutely terrifying. And the point of this book, it's called The Great Taking. In the synopsis, I think they did a very good job of describing the deep, deep, deep layers of the legal system inside the banking world that you and I don't know about, and how it's subtly being changed in such a way that when the great crisis occurs, we're not quite there yet, what will happen is what the central banks do ever since the Fed was created in 1913. They create a boom, they create a crash. When it goes to the bottom, they change the laws, and then they scoop up all the dirt cheap assets. Then they raise interest, then they boost the economy again. They lower interest rates, everything, economy boosts up, and it's a cyclical thing. You know, at one point they did they took all your gold. The next thing you know, they went off the gold standard. All sorts of shenanigans to increase their power at your expense. So, in this Great Taking book, honestly, the legal aspects it's a little bit over my head, but the concepts and the principles resonated very, very loudly with me. And it made me feel like, yep, I told you so. And I kind of put it in my book. Anyway, the idea of the great taking is that inside the global banking system, not just America and the central bank, but all the major banks around the world, they will eventually comply to this new legal format, which effectively allows them to do what's called a bail-in, where when a major global financial crisis occurs, they legally have the right to take your money, your deposits, in order to save themselves. And you're left with a token, a gesture, like, we're very, very sorry about this crisis. We're going to take all your money, but we're going to give you a little certificate that says, thank you very much. You own stock, and you've got, at least you've got a token that shows you that we care about you. We're doing the best we can to sort out this money. But effectively, you got nothing. You've been robbed. Okay? That's the plan. Theft, betrayal, lies, deception, fraud in the global banking system. And it's all deliberate. And of course, you've heard about it, of course, with Klaus Schwab. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Okay? The worst thing possible for the global elite is for a healthy middle-class America to own your own car outright, own the title to your house outright, no credit cards, no college loans, no business loans, nothing. Ownership. You own gold, you own cash, you own a lot of food, you own a lot of gasoline, you own very powerful self-defense mechanisms and the ammo that goes with it. You own valuable tools that enable you to survive when things like phones don't work, or ATMs don't work, or your CBDC has been shut down. You can still have air, water, food, self-defense, shelter. Yes, it is a tarot channel. Hello, Cusp. Yeah, sorry, I'm not doing tarot tonight. I did some tarot earlier with some clients. I had to do some readings earlier today and yesterday, and it was all about the tarot and the astrology. But right now, I'm just doing one of my rants. That's what it is. A lot of time in my rants, I correlate my version of understandings of astrology with what I see going around in the world, like the global phenomenon that everyone's watching, all the big controversial things that are happening across the world right now. And of course, there's beautiful things as well. Yes, it's technically it's called mundane astrology, stuff that's going on with, politics, finance, countries, regions, India, China, Africa, boom bust economies, all that kind of stuff. You can lump it into mundane astrology. That's the word. I don't know why they use the word mundane. Mundane sounds like ordinary. I think of it as very big astrology. Okay. A lot of people who are into astrology, they want personal astrology. They want to know about love, relationships. When am I going to get married? When am I going to get rich? Why am I so confused? I want to be, why am I getting all these illusions and dreams? What's happening to me? My psychiatrist can't help me. My therapist can't help me. My drugs don't help me anymore. What am I supposed to do? Hello. Is that tarot illumination? Yeah. Well, can I get her? It's that. That's what I do. Most of the people who come to this channel seem to have some kind of esoteric interest in the first place, tarot and astrology, and some of the stuff that I talk about here. And they often have a situation where they're dealing with things that they can't heal, anywhere else, and they need to talk it out here, something like that, okay? Oh, let me just see that. An astrologer I trust says we have a couple more years before a financial crisis. Well, that astrologer is pretty bang on. Right now, we're actually already in a financial crisis. If you watch my channel regularly, you'll notice that Uranus is in Taurus, Jupiter's in Taurus, and it's causing financial chaos and upheavals, but also radical revolutionary advances. We're looking at Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, stuff like that. We're looking at all the fraud, deception, and betrayal in the global banking system and all of that. Now, I'm talking about a big one right now. Interest rates just shot up at the fastest rate they have ever done since records been taken. Interest rates have been going up and down and up and down. In the 80s, they were up to 11, 12, 13%. But we've been living off 0 to 1 to 2% for the last 18, 15 years or so. That's ridiculous. You can't sustain a financial system with apparently zero risk, because now we're paying for it. So interest rates are going way up. And as they go way up, it's going to choke the velocity of money. That means it's much harder to spend, much harder to earn. Buying and selling houses, more tricky. Buying, selling cars, more tricky. Cost of gasoline goes way up. Cost of food goes way up. The cost of money goes way up. It chokes the economy. So that's what's happening. But we have not reached the pinnacle yet. We're still riding up. There's going to come a point where it's just going to go bam. It's already happened in Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, Turkey, Lebanon. Their economies are totally destroyed. They're way ahead of the curve because they're already very low at the level, and they're suffering at the mercy of the American Federal Reserve banking system, okay? Crypto is just one part of it. But anyway, I just wanted to finish up about that book. I don't know if I'm going to have the time to read it because I do things that take up time, and I can't do this all day, every day. I'm going to go through it. But it's about 140 pages, and I've already read the synopsis, and I'm just sharing that with you if you want to read it. It's basically, at some point, we're going to have a massive global crash. When that crash goes to the bottom, that's when those laws will be enacted and activated such that the banks can do their nefarious deed and suck all that money that lives inside the banking system, which is actually your money, and then they're going to keep it for themselves. There. And then they're going to go play with it and buy up all the cheap assets from the world economy that they just destroyed, okay? So, gosh, my battery's going to die fairly soon. I guess I should wrap it up. You know what? I wonder if we should do this. Let me see if we can go out and see the full moon. Hold on, bear with me. This could be interesting. I hope I can still keep my signal here. I'm kind of taking a bit of a risk. Bear with me. Yeah, I think it's possible. I'm just going to go over here. I'm still here. It's not like it's bad. Okay. So let me go over here. I'm wobbling around a bit. Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. I just went outside. Going out the front. Ah, there it is. Okay, that's the neighbors. Okay. So you should be able to see behind me. There it is. There it is. It's a huge, very bright full moon. Can you see that? Well, anyway. That's Mr. Wrinkles and Mr. Barkley. They're my neighbor dogs, Mr. Wrinkles and Mr. Barkley. Oh, glad you enjoyed that. Anyway, let's get back in. I think I'm going to wrap it up actually because I don't want to take up any more of your time. Gone way longer than I was actually planning to stream. But anyway, I just wanted to share my concerns and hopefully bring some enlightenment and clarity for the viewer, because a lot of people are suffering right now. There's a lot of people hurting financially, spiritually. A lot of people are terrified. A lot of people are terrified that we're going into World War III. There's going to be a lot of death and famine and destruction and pain and suffering. Personally, I'm sensing and feeling the same thing. I feel like I'm relatively lucky and I'll probably be well protected and not so directly impacted, but there's going to be hundreds of millions of people whose lives are going to be really, man, it's going to be awful. I'm sorry. You might want to watch some prepper channels. They're telling you like how to buy the right foods, and it's common sense. I like to watch Mark Moss. He's very good about this stuff. One of them, they talk about prepping. You know, you think about people who live in camouflage clothing, and they live up in the trees up in Montana and so on. But one of the most important things you can do for prepping and saving yourself and protecting yourself is get your financial house in order. I'm not an expert. I've helped a lot of people. I don't really have any money of my own to speak of, but I've helped people, and I seem to have a sort of a weird understanding about these things. And one of the best things you can do is to learn about money, understand what it really, really is. It's a belief system. Right now we live in a world of basically fake money. It's what we believe it to be, and we've been taught to believe it as a certain thing. And it's highly malleable, and it could be manipulated, okay? Like when you've got a beautiful gold coin, that can't be manipulated. When you hold that gold coin, you own it. You hold it, you own it. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Everything else is fake. Gold is God's money. Silver is God's money. Crypto is people's money. Fiat money is the devil's money. Anyway, you can't say world with. Oh, okay. Well, right now over in, well, in a way you're right, Gus, because it's not a lot of guns and bullets, at least not in the United States. On the other hand, we've got, whatever it was, 100,000 fentanyl deaths. That's more than that was lost in Vietnam. Oh, no, wait a minute. I can't, sorry, don't quote me. Don't quote me, okay? I believe that we are in World War III right now. And the primary front lines of World War III are the global financial currency markets. Basically, it's the FX exchange, foreign exchange. Trillions and trillions of dollars are changed every day in the Forex markets. Forex stands for foreign exchange. The United States uses the American dollar as the weapon. It's the most powerful weapon on earth. And it's owned and controlled by the United States Federal Reserve banking system in collusion with Grandpa Joe and his administration, including Janet Yellen, the boss of the US Treasury. Those three people and their team, they basically run it all. And they can make or break a country through the foreign exchange system, okay? Oh, the dream stopped the day that COVID hit. Oh, okay. Yeah. I wrote a book about the global upheaval, and I called it Wealth, Money, Finance, Global Restructuring, and the key date when the bomb would drop was January 2020. It was a bioweapon. Anyway, that book is out there. You can get it at Amazon. I don't have any dreams about war. Gosh, I went on a lot longer than I was planning. I was just going to talk a little bit about the book on the Great Taking. But I'm glad that other people are seeing what I'm seeing, so I'm not insane. What I like knowing is that there are people like Mark Moss who has what he calls an 8-figure portfolio. So we're looking at, $10 million and above in his asset portfolio. I trust that man. He puts a lot of time and work in his content and his lessons. And I concur with everything. And I do a lot of correlations between finance and astrology. There are some very technical books on financial astrology. And frankly, I don't understand them because I'm not very technical in that way. So anyway, I hope we can hang out again. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad you got to see a little bit of Bubba. We got to wrap it up here, folks. Good night. Take care. God bless. Oh, what is it today? Friday. Hope to see you on Sunday evening. I can probably handle 3 tarot readings. Caspi were asking about that. I do the live tarot readings on Sunday night. And I do live astrology on Sunday night as well. So you're welcome to drop by. Thank you very much, everybody. I've got to press the stop button. Yeah, here we go. Bye-bye.